Hello.
Welcome to Lunch and Learn Live. It is our official first Lunch and Learn for the month of January.
2025. Very exciting.
That's pretty cool, huh? So, what we need to talk about is for sure detox, right? Because I know everyone thinks January and they're like, okay, new year, new start. It's so funny. My son, now he's 14, coming into his own mind. He's like, huh, why do we have to set our intentions at New Year? We can set them anytime. And I'm like,
Hmm.
really true. And he's like, why do we have to express gratitude? We should be doing that all the time. And I'm like, that's true. And so, yes, we should be detoxing all the time. It just so happens that there's sort of like this feeling around the beginning of the year, right? Even though if we were going with the seasonal cycles, the beginning of the year isn't till like spring.
Yes. Yeah.
But it is this artificial sort of line in the sand that does give us an opportunity to be like, okay, let's regroup, let's reset, and let's charge forward. And so I think that is a very valuable part of detoxification in January. And we, of course, have Dr. D's detox that starts next Monday. So in 1 week from today. So you want to make sure I'll put the link in the box, but you want to make sure that you got yourself registered so you can get access to the portal as early as possible and get your sea legs wet and get your forms filled out. So that is coming. But Carissa, I think one of the big things with detoxification that I like to consider is our gut health, because
Yeah.
I detox, in all of our programs. For those of you who are not clients of South Bay Wellness, in our programs, gut health is a very big component of what we call our detoxification phases, because gut health is connected to everything, literally everything. And so it's really important for us to actually be able to pay attention to what's happening with our gut.
Yeah.
Mood, autoimmune disease, inflammation, our hormones, all of it is right there at the gut. And of course, we're coming out of the holidays and everyone's probably had a little bit more sugar than they like, and they've maybe had some more alcohol than they like, or they've not had as much fiber and vegetables and all that good stuff as we would normally expect. And so it is time for a real gut reset too.
Yeah. And it feels so good because they call it what? Our second brain
Yeah.
is our gut, because it is so closely related to how we feel, our emotions,
Yeah.
like how you just talked about too, like fatigue, bloating, food sensitivities, anxiety, depression, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So when we take steps to improve it, you support your body and your mind, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so, I mean, it is really important for us. It's important for us to do that.
Yeah.
So, and I know most people are like, well, what do we do to detox? What do we do to support our gut? What do we do for all these things? And you always want to start, you guys. I cannot stress enough how important it is to simply get back to the basics, right? Back to the basics. Make sure that you're eating on a schedule so that your body becomes accustomed to that. Make sure that you are first thing in the morning hydrating, right? I know this morning I woke up and I had to do something that wasn't unexpected, and then I ended up running right into a meeting. And at the end of that meeting, I'm like, gosh, I don't feel great. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't have any water yet this morning. And now it's like, 10 o'clock in the morning already. So
Oh,
it's really important. Like, just getting back to the basics is really key. And then one of the important things for detoxification, one of the important things for gut health is, of course, fiber. And where
mhm.
does the fiber come from? I mean, our veggies are our number one place where we can get fiber from.
Yeah. I do the same thing in the morning, although I like to rinse my mouth out. And
Yes.
then I just drink a bunch of lemon water because I know it helps with the liver. But I
Yeah.
was also just reading, I don't know if you know anything about it. I should have saved the article to at least send it. But I was reading something about limes helping with blood sugar.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know. I might start putting that in my water too.
might as well, right? It tastes good anyway.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I don't know if you saw this weekend. Was it this weekend? Maybe the end of last week. I've been testing out new recipes and things like that
I
for the
have.
detox. And speaking of fiber, I created this really yummy bread. I found a recipe somewhere, and I've kind of mostly followed the recipe. I'm not very good about following recipes, but kind of mostly followed it. I do want to recreate it using applesauce instead of coconut oil because it had coconut oil in it. So I do want to test that out. But it was quinoa that was soaked for a little while. And so it was quinoa and psyllium and chia seeds. And that was it. So loaded like with really, really good fiber.
Yeah.
And, the thing about all food, the secret to all good food, I think, is spices, right? I love like different spices. So I put in a bunch of mixed seasonings and stuff into the dough, or it's really more like a batter than it is a dough.
Yeah.
So into the batter, and it was really good. I got kid approval. All kids.
Really? I was going to ask you how the texture was.
It was good. It was good. Now all the kids jumped on it the minute it came out of the oven versus waiting for it to cool a little bit. So it was pretty much gone, before it was fully cooled. But that's a sign that it was really good. So if you're in our social media pages, you can find it. I posted it within the last couple of days. It was that, and then we were testing out dressings, which my daughter asked me because I made a bunch yesterday. She's like, "Mom, can I just drink this by a cup?" And I'm like, "No." But it was easy, just coconut aminos and rice vinegar or lemon juice. You can use either one, right? The lemon juice will support the liver, but the vinegar is also helpful too, especially with blood sugar. And then garlic, which we know has that detoxification benefits, and ginger, which is your detox, your thermogenic impact, as well as it's an anti-inflammatory. So, and it's really good.
That sounds delicious. I do something like that when I make scallops. I pretty much add like ginger and the coconut aminos. I don't add the lemon juice, but I'm going to try that next time.
Yeah, well, it makes it like it was a salad dressing, right?
Yeah.
So it gives it that vinegary acid. You kind of need that acid sometimes to cut the coconut, the sweetness from the coconut aminos.
Yeah.
So, but you guys, things can be really simple and easy as you're detoxifying, as you're thinking about supporting your GI system and your gut. But let's dive into digestion a little bit more, because I think there's a lot of different components that I'd like for us to touch on. And number one is, I always ask people, where do you think digestion begins? So you guys who are watching, you can put it into the comment section. But where does digestion actually begin?
That's a great question.
Some people say it begins in the stomach. Some people say it begins in the mouth when you chew. I actually believe digestion begins with your eyes. Sometimes it begins with your thoughts and your smell, but it begins actually before we're actually engaged in the act of eating. Right? Think about it. You're already salivating. So one of the, you've got Dr. D's ABCDs of mindful eating. The A in there is always attention. And the reason being is, and I'm guilty of this just as much as anybody else. We're always on the go. We're always on the run. We're not like sitting down before we eat our food and taking a deep breath and really taking that food in and admiring the way the food looks on the plate or how the food smells. We're just kind of diving in, or sometimes we're in the car, or sometimes we're doing whatever we're doing. So that A is really important. And it's important that we actually pay attention to our food for our digestive process, because it does then stimulate the production of the enzymes from the salivary glands that will begin that initial breakdown of our food. So there is a lot to mindful eating and bringing our awareness to it.
Yeah, I love that. Because I was going to say the mouth too, but then when you said the eyes, it made total sense, because you are salivating already and you are thinking about how you're going to enjoy it. And sometimes we even look at food as like, oh, I shouldn't eat that. Right.
Yeah.
So that already has a negative effect on our body and how we're going to process it. Or if
Yeah.
we're like, oh my God, I'm so excited, this is so healthy, that also has the same effect.
And that's true, right? Like that is something I think that often gets overlooked. So all these senses are where digestion begins before we even put food in our mouth. But our thoughts play a really big role because our thoughts are connected to our body. So the thought that we had literally it creates that neurotransmitter release, which creates then further creates a chemical reaction, biochemical reaction in the body. And so it is important for us to not just be mindful of the food, but like you say, like what are you approaching that food with? Is your body in a state of anger? Right? Are you angry? Are you stressed? What's the state of your body? Because if we are angry or we're stressed or we're really uptight when we're eating, then our body's not focused on digestion to begin with. So guess what? The food's going in, but it can't get processed. And the problem with our digestive system is the more our bodies are resilient, right? They're really resilient. They heal, we can get over things. But if we're doing this every single meal, we're sitting down, we're stressed out because we're in this chronic state of stress. And we're never actually bringing our body into a nice calm state where digestion prevails, right? The rest and digest, then we're never fully allowing our digestive system to work.
I think that's a really great point. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why. So the ABCDs, the B of that is breathe. Just the act of taking a couple of simple deep breaths can help to bring down your nervous system so that you can move into that state where your body can be able to digest food. Now, you guys, the impact of not having properly digested food going through the body, that creates imbalances within the gut microbiome. Okay. So I know most people have heard or know you shouldn't eat too late at night, right? You shouldn't eat and then go to bed. Well, why not? Part of the reason there is that if you're eating right before you're going to bed, what's happening? Your body's going into that calm, relaxed state. Number one, it can interrupt your sleep. If anybody has nightmares are typically caused by late night eating. Okay. But you guys, if you're not coming into that state, your food is not breaking down. And if your food is not breaking down, you're literally, as you're sleeping, think about it, that food is rotting from your mouth to your anus. Okay. Yeah. As that food rots, it creates its own issues. We have what's called endotoxins, toxins that the body produces itself, but it creates its own issues within that GI system. And over time, as that continues to happen, we shift the gut microbiome, and now we end up with all sorts of issues that could very simply have been avoided from the onset.
I think that's a great point to say, just even simply, because I know all this information can be like very overwhelming, right? Yeah. Like teaching this and people are like, oh my God, I am stressed all the time and I do eat late and all that stuff. But if you just look at your day and look at your week, and then just do something as like a simple breath. Maybe you are feeling tense. Maybe you just got home from work and you're feeling tense. That simple breathing exercise will do wonders for you. It does wonders for your body and wonderful for your digestive. So it really is simple. It really is simple. We just have to be conscious and aware. And once you start doing it, it does take hold. Like you're not going to have to be conscious and aware, forever, because you'll be like, oh, I'm feeling stressed. I breathe.
Yeah.
It becomes natural. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's a red light. Stop. Like your body already knows. Exactly. Well, you should be going for the brake pedal.
Yeah.
Sometimes yellow. You're like, which one? But yeah, you're already creating that pattern, which is really important.
Yeah.
So,
and even staying hydrated too is another one. Right? Something that we can so simply do throughout our day. I know there's sometimes where I even set a timer for myself. Like if I'm very busy at work and I know I have a very packed day, I just have a timer go off every hour. So I remember to sip because, it really does help the digestion. It helps get everything moving through the gut. And it just makes me feel so much better. When I don't drink water throughout the day, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling tired, sluggish.
Yeah.
My bowels don't move as great.
Exactly. Speaking of bowels, I mean, I think that's one topic of conversation that isn't had enough in the public space, right?
Yeah.
You guys, you should be moving your bowels 2 to 3 soft serve ice cream bowel movements per day. And if you're not, then we want to take a look at why not. Because that is your bowel movements are a detoxification process for the body. So we cannot detoxify the body if we've never actually made sure that we're getting in enough to keep things moving. Think about that. If you're going through a detox and you're not moving anything out that you're detoxifying, guess what? It's just
staying there, recirculating.
Yeah. So it's really important that 2 to 3 soft serve ice cream bowel movements a day. So I want you all to make sure that you're focused on that. And Carissa, like you said, one of the number one things there is hydration. And that is one of those things that we can all do and we can all do more of, and then making sure we are getting in enough of the fiber to keep things moving. We need that bulk. We need that bulk, not just to create the mass for our bowel movements, but we also need that bulk because it feeds the microbiome as well. Mm-hmm. And if we're looking to keep our microbiome in balance, it does mean that we need to make sure that we're doing that.
Yeah, and eating them first is really great to do. And fermented foods. I know both you and I are big fans of fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi. Joe will make kimchi sandwiches, which is weird to me, but that has probiotics in it, and that helps populate your gut. And I like to eat those foods first before I go on to the fat and my protein.
Yeah, it's good that you said that, because I think that, a lot of people think gut microbiome and the immediate thing that comes to their head is probiotics. Mm-hmm. Probiotics have become a little bit of a buzz, and rightly so. They're really important. But I also think that there are many things that normally isn't talked about when it comes to probiotics. For example, if you're looking at 5 different kinds of probiotics in the store, all of those probiotics are dramatically different. And I'm not talking about the manufacturing process and the raw materials and all of that. I'm talking about what constitutes the probiotics in that product, because different probiotics can be used for different things, right? So the same probiotics that might help us regulate our blood sugar better might not be the same probiotics that are best for us if we've taken an antibiotic, for example. So it's really important to know that probiotics are not the same. In our practice, we use the microbiome a lot with our clients, and we use the probiotic caps. They're completely different products, even though they're both probiotics, right? So it's important to just be aware of that. And I think, probiotics have become so popular that people are like, okay, I always got to take a probiotic. I really love getting our probiotics in with food. Mm-hmm. Eating those fermented foods in order to get the probiotics in. Now, I know kombucha is a big thing these days, and people are like, I'm getting my probiotics in, I'm having my kombucha. And don't get me wrong, I love kombucha, right? But you have to realize that a lot of the kombuchas on the market, they are adding stuff afterwards. So they're becoming really carbonated fruit juice drinks with a little bit of probiotic in there. So it's important to be aware of that, especially if you're looking to lose weight or you're looking to manage your blood sugar. You want to be mindful of how much sugar is actually in these drinks. So even though they're healthy, it doesn't mean that they are the best thing or the right thing for everybody. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, I remember I tried a new brand of kombucha because I love it too. And when I was done drinking it, I was like, I am so thirsty, like beyond thirst. And then I happened to look at the ingredient list, and the first ingredient was sugar. And I was no, that's what it is.
We all suffer from it. Yeah.
And I was like, and now I can't even, finish the rest of this. But yeah, there are few on the shelves that don't have the added sugar.
Yes.
Because I think you ferment with the sugar when you're making.
You have to use sugar is used originally in the process, because the sugar is what stimulates that actual fermentation process. But you guys, like regular kombucha doesn't taste all sweet like the stuff that you're finding in the stores. It's more like that. Like think of vinegar, right? Vinegar has gone through that natural fermentation process. That's more the actual taste. They now start to add all the fruit juice or just straight sugar if that's what they added in yours. Like they're adding that to make it taste better, you know, and therein lies the problem with that.
It defeats the whole purpose, which is sad because people are really trying to go out and do things for their health, not recognizing that these companies are just, it's not really healthy. Like you said, they just want to make it taste good.
Yeah. The number one thing you can do as a conscious consumer is read food ingredient labels. Okay. Yeah. Notice how I was careful. I didn't just say read food labels. I want you to read the food ingredient labels, because that front of that container, like you said, like it caught you. It said kombucha. You're like, oh, okay, kombucha, that's pretty good. This is a good
flavor. I was like, ooh, perfect. Yeah,
exactly. Right. And we sometimes fall in. My poor husband, he tries so hard. Sometimes he'll come home from the grocery store with something, and I'll say, oh, this is new. And he's like, oh yeah, look, it says like non-GMO, or it says organic, or it says something on the front of the package. And I'm like, did you read the ingredient list? Because the minute you turn it over, now you see, oh, there's sugar. Oh, there's there's seed oils. Oh, there's a food dye. No food dye is allowed in organic products, but just to use that as an example. Or the big one, you guys, if you guys have a genetic mutation with the MTHFR, if your body has an MTHFR, a methylation issue, you've got to be careful, because a lot of products will add in synthetic B vitamins. Okay. So you'll see cyanocobalamin on stuff. You'll see fortified. Okay. When you see those things, if you have that genetic gene mutation, you want to stay far away, because it literally is almost like a poison for you, right? Yeah. Is having that one thing one time going to have a huge issue? No, but it's not about that. It's the slow accumulation of all these little hits that build up into that big amount that then has the impact. So you have to be careful.
And those things are in everything. Like Gower gums, I was just reading about the MTHFR too. And it's in everything. To find toothpaste is like, oh my God, it's like a needle in a haystack. I'm constantly scanning at every store I go to find.
I know, we should do a lunch and learn on MTHFR. Yeah, we should do. But it's really important to pay attention to what's on that food label, because whatever's on the front, they can say whatever it is that they want. When you go to the actual ingredient list, and I'm not talking about calories, sugars, carbohydrates, protein. That's important, yes, but most important is that ingredient list. Mm-hmm. Okay. And, there's always loopholes in what they have to list and don't have to list. If it's under a certain percentage, they technically don't have to, which I don't think that should be allowed, but it is what it is. We can't change that, but we can get as close as we can to making sure that we know what all those different things are. So the number one thing that you can do is really read the ingredient list on the food labels. And that's how you know. That's how you know. Yeah. And it gets easier for those of you who are not real good at doing that all the time. It gets easier. You start to find the different products where you know already what's on the label. And so you end up, being able to reach for the same things every time. And you still have to be conscientious, because what was it? Once again, brand of sunflower seed butter. Mm-hmm. They never added any oil to the sunflower seed butter. Now, sunflower seed oil is actually added in addition to the crushed sunflowers. And I was like, when did they do that? Yeah. So manufacturers change their stuff too. So we still have to, every now and again, even if it's your favorite thing that you've been getting for the last 10 years, take a look at it.
And that's another thing. Oils and everything. Seed oil is in everything, and things that you don't expect them to be. I was looking for dried cranberries the other day. I ended up opting with dried cherries, because dried cherries were just the dried cherries, every dried cranberry, no matter organic or
Sunflower
not, with
oil.
sunflower oil. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about the dried cherries, so win-win.
There you go. They taste good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys. All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot in terms of
Yeah.
detoxification and in terms of gut microbiome. I know we only have a couple minutes here. If you guys have questions as you're watching, go ahead and put those questions in the comment section and we'll get them answered. And what did we miss, Carissa? What else do we need to make sure that we leave them with? Obviously, you guys sign up for the detox. We go through a lot of this stuff very in depth and in detail in Dr. D's Detox. It's a powerful way to start your year and transform the direction of your health. And I'm doing it right along with everybody else, right? I loosened my reins a little bit during the holidays too, and now it's time to kind of pull them back, you know. So it is time to get that reset. What have we missed, Miss Carissa?
Well, managing stress, I feel like we kind of touched upon with the breathing. Hydration we talked about. I don't know. I just think that caring for your gut is probably one of the best things that you could do for your overall health.
Yeah.
So just remember, like, small, consistent changes, like that's what leads to the big difference. So whether you're ready to dive into the upcoming detox on January 13th, or you just want to simply start by like adding more whole foods and managing that stress, like every step forward counts.
Yeah.
You know, let's just make 2025 the year that we all take control of our health.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys, I think it's really important what Carissa said. Like, if we just focused on real whole foods and that was that was all that we nourished ourselves, we would not see the health epidemics that we see now. We just wouldn't, our bodies wouldn't get out of balance the way that they get out of balance now. We wouldn't have all these crazy cravings and things like that. We wouldn't see these different health issues. I mean, when the body gets out of balance, like then we start craving different things and we start to have these different symptoms and we're easier to get stressed. And then when we're stressed, then we make poorer choices. So it's like, it all comes back down to those very simple basics. Yeah. So getting back to basics, bringing in that whole real food, making sure that there is the fiber to really, really feed your gut and the GI system.
Yep. Your gut is a foundation for everything else.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you know, really important, you guys, I don't eat without taking my HCL activator and my digest, because if our food's not being broken down, and if you're my age, I'm 21, just kidding. But if you're anywhere over the age of like 30, that means that your GI system probably needs a little extra support, unless you've had a stellar diet with tons and tons of raw foods and haven't had sugar or antibiotics or anything like that. But you guys, making sure that your food is being digested properly is really important, because like I said, that's where all of those issues begin.
Yes, I have that in my closet too. And MediClay. I'm big on the MediClay, especially if I'm out eating.
Yeah. So you guys, what MediClay is it is a clay. It's not a vitamin, a mineral, or a nutrient. It's literally a clay that goes through the GI system. That's why we open the capsule. We open it because it works on surface area. It's kind of like a magnet. So like the pesticides that are in your food, it kind of attracts to that and shuttles that out of the body. Mold, fungus, you know, that kind of.
Exactly. It works for so much more than just the food. It's one of my favorite supplements. Yeah. I probably have like 3 down here next to me.
3 bottles.
Yes, I always keep
combine them.
Yes, I just always keep it because we all take them. So.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, everyone. It was really good to see you. We will see you all next week. So Monday, again, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time for live Lunch and Learn with Dr. D and Carissa. And we'll see you there. Bring your questions.
Yes. Take care, everyone.
All right, everyone. Bye.